Well, hello, everybody. Unfortunately, as you can tell by the video, we're doing the same kind of thing with this story like we did with Iron-Hearted. So I never got around finishing that audio drama that I promised last video. I do apologize. If you don't know what this is or couldn't tell by the title, yes, this is the 5th anniversary for Radical Decade, or formerly known back then when it was first created, called 80s Chronicles. And it's a Minecraft Story Mode AU that turns 5 years old today. I know, it's weird. So, yeah, it's so weird that how this story has been around for 5 years, and then I finally, like last year or something, I decided to write some of it down. I just gotta go, okay, sorry, I'm like rambling at this point. So, back to the subject matter I said at the very beginning of this video. Yes, this is gonna be the same format or type of video that I did last time with Iron-Hearted, or Ironheart. Unfortunately, so it is. Which just sucks because I really wanted to do that audio drama short that I wanted to do, but I never got around doing it because we were so busy with what was going on with me personally. Nothing too bad or anything. It was the fact that we had to move. We had to go on a trip to shift to a different place for the time being, and that's where I am right now, and that's why you hear a fan. Last time you couldn't hear a fan because I didn't have a fan on in that room, so you're going to have to deal with this fan being in the background. I'm currently in a new location, but I'm in the same state, Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin. So, I'm in the same state, but I'm in a different town. Where my parents are off on a trip somewhere, Greece specifically, so I'm staying with my older sister for the time being, for the week. It's unclear if I'm going to be doing any gaming videos by this point. I think I will. It depends on how well the recording thing, 'cause I'm kind of not in the best position to record gaming stuff. I would, but I'm kind of positioned in a chair. I'm kind of positioned in a chair that's kind of like and every time I have to look at the screen, like I have to lean forward and like look at the screen intently, because I'm at a small table looking at this, not sitting on a bed or anything, just like a scrunky little old chair and a table doing this. But I wanted to get this out before the day's over, so that's why I'm recording it. Hang on, I gotta let my hang on a second. Hang on, I gotta sending a text out to some of my friends here. So, yes, as you saw by the title, like I said earlier, today is the anniversary, the 5th anniversary of another of my Minecraft Story Mode AU, based upon, that's called Radical Decade. Now, there's a story behind that, and I actually pulled up the Wattpad page that I put, to give some information about the AU, and we're doing the same kind of thing I did with Iron-Hearted, like I said before. And we're gonna, of course, we're gonna go on DeviantArt and look at my old art pieces that I did of this story. If I can pull it up, like, my god. Hang on a moment. So, unfortunately, my Wattpad doesn't let me write or sign in, which is kind of weird. I don't know why it's making me say it's doing that, but... Okay. So, let's go. I'm gonna pull up 2 DeviantArt searches in my gallery, because this AU has 2 names, like I said earlier. Radical Decade and 80s Chronicles. We're gonna get to the story of why it has 2 names in a second. So... I know, it's a weird fucking thing. So, we're gonna go to the introductory page on my Wattpad of the story when you open up to the Wattpad site, and you can see, I'm sorry, that is my display capture. I should put this on the window capture of you know, this. I should do that. So this is my, obviously my Wattpad page. And this is the introduction page for my AU. I'll put a link in the description of the Wattpad story in the description. And here's my Wattpad page if you ever look around. Silent Beacon Town we're going to get to later this year. I'm hoping that I can maybe post enough, because I know I did a prologue, or a test prologue for that. And Radical Decade still needs to... Okay, sorry. And Iron Heart is still in the works. It probably has the most chapters being published so far, because it's the most easiest to do. It's more straightforward. Like, the later... The AUs who go further down, like, from the earliest to, like, the recent ones... The recent ones are more complicated and more complex than, you know, the earlier ones, which... Because Ironhearted is basically just Minecraft story, Full-on Alchemist, but Minecraft story mode characters. And it's pretty easy to follow that. Radical Decade's kind of smushed between, like, Silent Beacon Town and Ironhearted, because we're gonna, again, I'm gonna explain it. We're gonna get to there in a second. So, as you can tell, I put a synthwave thing, because this, we're gonna get to why the aesthetic is that. So, keywords, introduction... MCSM, Minecraft Story Mode, Alternate Universe, AU. I had to put those key in case people didn't know what the fuck those meant. So, here we go. I'm gonna read this introduction real quick. So, this introduction says, welcome back to the MCSM AU idea that was created once again back in 2018. Yeah, that's how old this idea is, and it took me a while to figure out how to structure it. That's why it took me, like, fucking 5 years, and beyond, also on that, too, there's other AUs and stories and ideas that I came up with in that time period. So that's why it's, like, fucking nuts. So, the story behind this one isn't as exciting as my other AUs, but hey, it's something that stuck with me this long. Had to write about it. So start off, what is this AU? So, basically, take the high school AU, right? But it's set in the 1980s. I'm not sure if anyone has ever really done that with a lot of high school AU fan fiction, because most of the high school stuff I've seen is set in the modern times, like, oh, like the 2000s or the 2010s, you know, the era, like the present, like the current present day. And within the Minecraft Story Mode fanfiction stuff, a lot of the AUs, or a lot of the Minecraft Story Mode AUs, or high school AUs, are again set in the modern time period. So then, this is what I'm explaining here. So in the case of this, this AU in particular, this high school AU, does not take place in the 2010s as suggested by the original name being called 80s Chronicles. As you can see right here, what if our beloved characters attended high school, but this was set back in the 1980s? And I said here, interesting and weird concept, am I right? And then I say here, well, maybe... Oh, here's some art that we're going to see in a minute. Well, maybe to some of you it is. Not everyone does not have to like the idea, but to me it's quite interesting. This leads to the question of what inspired me to do this high school AU. Okay, so a little backstory on this. I say, back in 2018, like I said, little like side note, when I referred to 2018 as a count of my writing years, I count it as the AU, the year of the AUs, because I created so many fucking AUs during that year. It's crazy. Like, if you look at my DeviantArt page, you can see, like, old art that, like, dated back during that time, and I think 2018 was probably the year that I posted the most art to, because I think I remember looking at stats, like, oh, July is, like, the most, you know, it's crazy. And, as you can see here, hold on. So, as you can tell, since my 5th anniversary for Ironhearted was created, or was not created, was not that long ago, you can tell that this was created not long after the Fullmetal Alchemist and the Ironhearted AU was created. So as again, I also mentioned that this AU was, this AU back then, before it was called Radical Decade, it was called 80s Chronicles. And I don't know why, I don't remember why I called it that. I think it was because I loved the 80s events, or like, I loved the 80s back then, and like I like the culture. I just want to, it's just really interesting, and I thought I would just throw the MCSM characters in that scenario. And Chronicles, like, it was gonna be basically it's just the characters, but like they're living throughout the 80s, and that's why the 80s Chronicles is like the chronological order of the 1980s, which is what the story is based upon of. It's really weird, but that's why I changed the name, because 80s Chronicles just felt weird to me. So that's why I call it Radical Decade, because radical, or rad, it was a term used a lot back in that day. And decade, because the 80s was a decade. So that's why I thought it would make it a bit more interesting, a more interesting title. And it's been like that ever since, I think recently, like a year ago, or like a couple of years ago, or like something like that. So right here it says, earlier Chronicles, and the reason for the title is built on the idea of what if idea. The idea might spark the story to think what if the 1980s, and since then the earliest concept art for 1980s Chronicles I could find was this art piece I did back in August of 2018. So here's supposedly Jesse in that AU. I know, look at how fucking old this is. And here, I think this was, when I posted this chapter, this was the most recent art, at the time, I did of him. We're gonna get to that in a second, actually. I actually did a drawing for today, for it. Hang on, I gotta find it and show it on here, because it's really fucking cool. I did this while I was listening to a grimdark story. I did that, really fitting. So this is an art piece. I gotta send it to myself, though. Hang on, folks, just a minute. Like anyone's gonna care about this video anyway. Just gonna send it to my friends, too. It's a pretty cool AU. Anyway, I'm gonna show real quick. I'm gonna get the image up real quick in a second here. I send it to myself on the computer, so it should be coming in. This is the most recent art piece I've done of him, technically. Ooh, rabbits outside. So, here is the art piece right here. So this is Lucas, this is Jesse here, and they're having milkshakes. They're just talking and chatting. I'm actually pretty proud of this art piece. I'm getting very familiar with trying to do more with the arms, which you can tell here. I wish I could have done more shitting on the... Why is my fucking... Stop. Okay. My mouse is like freaking out. So... some sensor is like going off. I don't know what the hell. Something fell off. So this is obviously pretty cool. But back to the window capture here. This is like my Google thing. Yeah, leave. Don't need anything. We're going back to look at the old art. So, yeah, looking at the difference of this and then compared to this and then what you just saw is crazy. Here's some more recent art. This was back in April of 2022. That just feels weird to me. This was like a year ago, and I remember making this, and this is back in that day. That's just off to me. That's just weird. But it's definitely an improvement, as you can tell. Currently, the compression now, the progression of this AU. So back to the origin story I said. So here's like what according to this introduction here. It says, what inspired me to do this AU specifically was for a couple of major reasons. First, my mom was a person who grew up during this time period, and I was and still am fascinated with retro things too, like technology, music, or anything to do with being historical. The old music is also pretty sick too. It's like it's awesome. So I can't lie either that Stranger Things was also an inspiration for this AU as well. Yeah, Stranger Things was definitely a thing that I was into at the time as well, when I made this, because I was recently got into it. So, Ages Chronicles is the name for the story for nearly 4 years before I finally changed the name back to Radical Decade to fit the story a bit more, and I'm glad I changed it to that. Yeah, like I said earlier, Radical Decade just seems more fitting than 80s Chronicles did. But I don't know why it took me... voice crack. I don't know why it took me that long to finish, or, like, not finish, not to change it for that, like, not change it for that, or anything, or change it to something else. So... it says, I'm not sure what else to say about this AU, but how special this idea is to me, especially when I just graduated from this year to high school, class of 2022. Yeah, this was like last year, like I said. Now my first year of college. Now you have me sitting here in June of 2023. Now I have finished my first year of college, which is fucking weird to me. It just flew by fucking fast. Living the life. It's funny how I started this idea back when I just finished middle school. Yeah, middle school. Yeah, this was when I just finished middle school. Can you believe that? It's crazy. And now I'm finally fucking writing about it after, like, high school's done. So it says here, anyway, hope you enjoyed this high school 80s alternate universe thing. So much enjoyed making for the past 4 years. Yes, it means a lot. The work in progress thing. Many stories I've published here. As we're planning more stories based on this AU, I am still thinking about if I want to do it or not. Besides that, here's the alternate universe, formerly known as 80s Chronicles, but now it's called Radical Decade. And I dedicated this story to my mother and my aunt because they grew around this culture. And I am a Generation Z kid. I never grew up on this stuff. Now let's talk about art. So, there's a lot to go through here. So again, here's 80s Jesse, right? Here's that art piece we saw. Now in super high quality. You can go on my DeviantArt page. I'll put this in the description as well. Here is him in 2020. Jump a couple years, and the art is kind of getting not all the way there, but it's kind of reminiscent of like 2019 or something like that. It's like reminiscent of like trying to get past that 2019 spectacle. Here's some angst shit. 2020 was a weird year for art. Like, the hair was fucking weird. Like, you look at 2019, right? It's smudged. And 2018 was big, right? Weird fucking design. 2020 had, like, line art. This one just, yeah, 2020 was just, yeah, this is due to the fact that Jesse just, has anxiety. That's his character. I actually made a wiki page for this, AU. I just gotta find it. Yeah. I'll put this in the description as well, but I have made a page for this. I made a little icon. Look at that, guys. We'll read to that in a second. But now we're getting through here's like a little bio I created. So Jesse Seinfeld, so this is his last name. His shoes changed like a couple months after this date. His shoes changed, so you're gonna see that in a second. This is really reminiscent of 2020 art. Jesse Seinfeld, AU 80s Chronicles, now Radical Decade. Age 16, still kind of the same. Is a student in a high school in Chicago. Family info, has a sister and a mother. Used to have a dad, but he died of cancer. Bam, angst baby. Seinfeld is actually an Easter egg. And I did this for a lot of the characters' last names of this AU. AU. So, let's go down the main ones. Aiden, Lucas, Gil and Maya, they are all in this AU. Petra's in this AU. Jessica, or female Jessie, is in this AU. And Seinfeld is... Jesse and Jessica have Seinfeld. Now that, as you can tell, that is a show reference. A sitcom reference. Most of the last names are named after comedy sitcoms that were released back in the 80s. Seinfeld's unique because Patton Oswalt, one of his first acting jobs... Patton Oswalt's the voice actor for Jesse, if you didn't know, in the game, originally. And, Seinfeld was one of his first acting jobs, and that came out back in, like, the late 80s, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna make that reference, and that's a pop culture reference in itself. Jessica's Seinfeld because it's the sister. Petra has Jefferson, that's a reference to The Jeffersons, which is an old sitcom. Gil had his name changed a couple times. The first one was Cosby. I know that's kind of a weird, controversial one. And I changed it to Alder. That's another sitcom. Aiden had Brewster. That's another sitcom. Crockett is actually not a sitcom. That is based off a character within a TV show. Matt Crockett from Miami Vice. That's a TV show. But it's referencing a character's name within a TV show that's from there in the 80s, and I put it on the. And Maya has spoons. That's another last name for. Oh, here you go. Shoot. Okay, so Maya Spoons, which is another sitcom, and I think that's it for now. I'll get to most of it, but that's like the Easter egg I throw in for 80s. So as you can see here, this next art piece, first eye strain test. An online friend taught me how to do this, and that's why I tried it. And as you can tell, like I said, these shoes are now Vans shoes, and that's why you see, after a couple months, they changed, because I was on a car ride when I finally came up with the idea of no, I didn't want to edit anything. Get out of here. Hang on. So, it's pretty cool how I tried doing an eye strain, or at least tried to. Here's the next art piece in line. This is line art. This is earlier in the year. Unless this is 2021. Oh, I dated it wrong. Holy shit. I'm an idiot. So this is actually a little comic page. So this is 2021 art. Obviously. So this is like a little comic where Jesse's feeling a little lonely. Lucas comes by and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna try to cheer you up, bro." It's very adorable. Just let the thing. It's taking a bit because the Wi-Fi is like crazy, and here's him being like, "What the hell? Who is this?" What's like Lucas doing here, and you'll see in a second. Once it loads. It just takes a moment. Hey, bro. Should dub this. Jesse, hey, bro. Like, it's. Oh my god. He's wearing a jean jacket because, Lucas just doesn't want to leave Jesse out. It's funny how I created this before, like, this. Oh, there it is. It's adorable. There, I finally corrected the fucking date. So, there you go. 2021, radical decade. So here's like a little banner I created. Radar is it's still in there, but he's not like, his role is different. Here's Petra, here's Jesse, and here's Lucas. I did an 80s color palette thing, and that's where I drew and this is back when 80s Chronicle was still called that. This was made in March of 2021, as you can tell by the date. We're getting closer. This is 2 years ago. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh, look at that! Oh, there's the date. This is 2 years ago. This is 2 years ago I created this. So here's Jesse, good old bye. Here's Lucas. I can recognize that hair anywhere. There's Crockett, because that's his name. This is before his design change. I did not plan a design from it all yet. There's Aiden. Aiden didn't have a design change either. So they're kind of just sticking around with their original, like, game counterparts. But you can see Brewster's there. It's just their name. Petra, on the other hand, I think, had her own design. Yeah. Jefferson. So you can see Jefferson. Yeah. So that by this point is 3 years old. Here's Radar Miller. I changed that. His last name is not Miller anymore. His name is Devin. Oh yeah, here's like a color palette I decided to do with the characters. So Jesse's pink. Lucas is blue. Aiden is like yellow there. Petra's like a violet pink. And Radar is blue. I like the way that his hair just turned out with that. Here's like another test, like bright pink. Here's Lucas with purple. I loved doing these, like, things. This is like a weird purple for Aiden, or like a weird purple blue. Light blue for Petra there. And a teal blue or turquoise blue for Radar there. Ooh, we're getting in some angsty territory. Oh my god, I remember making this. This was a scene where, it's kind of a spoiler, I guess, but Jesse gets shot. Spoiler alert. This was the first time I've done, like, a laying down pose like this. This was hard to do, but it was so fucking worth it. I did a remake of this later the same year, actually. Here is, Iron-Hearted Jesse and him. And, yeah, here's Lucas. Yes, this is very angsty. This is after when Lucas gets his blood on his hands after trying to get Jesse's wound healed. So here's like when the official design, or like when I decided to design him, he's wearing Adidas shoes, and he's wearing a purple. That's the first sign of his purple thing. And here's the design of Aiden. He has those what do they call those? I remember specifically my friends were like, "Man, he's got the drip, man!" Like, it's, oh my god. Oh god, I forgot the name of those, but they were like these specific shoes that I decided to design him with. Here's Jesse Seinfeld with the Vans. Here's Jessica Seinfeld with the Converse. It's the first time we saw her design there. Here's Maya Spoons, the Doc Martens, or the design for her. She's got the hair. Petra Jefferson, the Vans, light blue Vans. Her bandana's technically like a little thing on the neck. This is back when I called him Cosby. Shut up. I renamed him after a while. Shush. He has like those Nike sports shoes. And here's Miller. Wow. It's so called Miller, huh? He's got those like Jordans. Here's like Jesse and... Yeah, there was a point where I made, like, into this own creepypasta where, like, Jesse became, like, fucking nuts and his hair went all crazy. Instead of being the sunshine child. Well, no. Okay, here's that remake I did, what I was mentioning. This was fun to do. This was definitely a bit better. I tried remaking this, but I feel like I will never do it again. I have to wait for a while. Here's the first Jesse Seinfeld sketch of 2022. Kind of getting near towards the recent ones. I remember making this. This was Valentine's Day. And it's pretty cool. I think I accidentally flip-flopped Jesse's jacket and Jessica's and Petra's jacket accidentally. And that's why she's kind of wearing a brown Valentine's Day thing. There's a second part to this. I have to find it. Hold on. Wait a minute. If I can spell this correctly. Valentine's. Alright, hold on. Get amidst all of the Mandela catalog things. So here's the... This is the one there's the Lucas version and the Jessica version where they're just... Yeah, this is gonna be one of those AUs, and this is done on purpose because the 80s is known for their cheesy, and this is what this AU is gonna be. It's gonna be a fucking cheesy high school story, and that's the aim, and it fits so well. That's the point. That's what I want to do, because literally make this fucking thing into a naked 80s movie, because it's fun. Anyway, Radical Decade time. Here is here's like that sketch again. This is by the point where I made Radical Decade into a that's when I changed the name. This is a what if scenario with another AU. It's an AU within an AU. If you ever heard of Crawl Out Through the Fallout by Silver Silence 14, it's probably one of the best Minecraft story mode alternate universes ever. It's really adorable, and it's fucking angsty as shit. It's like, it's, I can't even explain it. You gotta read it yourself. It's like past 100 chapters by now, and I'm like enthralled. And I'm like, I was inspired too much to do it, and too much to do like a thing out of it, and that's what I did. This is that art I did last year. If you remember me doing an art piece for this was something I did, and now you can see the ears are signed, like different design changes are coming. Here's Seinfeld again, and here's the cover of my Wattpad, the Wattpad story. Here is him again in September of the same year. Pretty neat. Here's the sketch version. And this is like a time skip. This is in 1991. This is when he's technically in college. I'm not sure if that would be this would be a sequel, but it's up in the air. I gotta write the base story for this. Here's another Lucas sketch. Within the same month of that year, of September last year. Here's Jesse about months ago in October. Okay, a little bit of bonus here. This is another what if thing of Ironhearted Jesse was in this Crawl Through the Fallout. This is what this what if thing is again. Again, the AU's like amazing. Here's probably one of the most recent art pieces I've did. This was back in December, and this was with Aiden, Maya, Gil, and Lucas, line art. And here is the finished version of it, so you can tell. Alder, that's when I changed the name. I gave them designs with their little shirts. If you can tell, if you remember Linark County, my Minecraft story mode parody of Mandela Catalog, I gave Aiden a light colored green shirt with like the little stripes, little like wavy stripes, and here he's got like the spiky stripes, and that's like his design or whatever. And I remember showing this to my friend, and they're like, "I love Aiden in this." So, my spoons, Gil Alder, and Lucas Crockett. Lucas being like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's probably one of my favorite pieces ever. And that's the most recent art piece I've done. Except for the one I just did. I just showed you on screen. Let me just bring that up again. It's not the best work, but it tried. So here's like the most recent art piece of Radical Decade. So here's Jesse, and here's Lucas right here. Zooming in on the pixels. So yeah, this is pretty cool. That's the most recent one. And that is it for the DeviantArt page. Let's go ahead and look at the little bios. Oh, shit. Chrome is acting very, very stupid right now. It's like not cooperating whatsoever. It's like dumb. It's very slow. I don't know why. But let's go ahead and see what we got of information. So I kind of did a little history here. The wiki page. I'll show it in a second. So here's the wiki page. I'll link this in the description as well. So this is Jesse Seinfeld. I haven't posted a picture yet. I will do that eventually. So you can see relatives, just Alex Seinfeld, Jessica Seinfeld, and Steve Seinfeld. Occupation, student. Date of birth, January 27th, 1970. Place of birth, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So here's like the little bio of history. It says, in 1970, Jesse Seinfeld was born to the mother of and father of Alex Seinfeld and Steve Seinfeld. He grew up with both parents and had a sister named Jessica. In early childhood, Jesse grew up on a farm not too far away from Indianapolis. Jesse attended school in Minneapolis, and these fucking ads, I swear. Jesse attended school in Minneapolis, Minnesota for about 5 years or so before moving to Chicago, Illinois, when he was about 10 years old. Sorry, I gotta do something here for a minute. Ever since then, he has been attending school in Chicago and meeting new faces. That is where this story takes place during this junior year of high school appearance. Jesse's appearance is similar to his game's counterpart, but with the only few changes, of course. In his current high school attire, he usually wears a light blue-green jean jacket, as you saw in like the art and the concept art and everything, with a white shirt. He wears dark blue jeans, and his shoes are black and white Vans. Jesse has a brunette hair color like his father, and his eyes are emerald green like his mother's. Personality. Jesse's personality is quite different from his sister's, with Jessica being very social and bubbly. Jesse, on the other hand, is more quiet. He's little sensitive, and he has a bit of an anxiety. Ever since his father died when he was 11 years old, it was something that stuck with him for quite a while, putting him in this depressive state. But that doesn't shy away from the fact that he is sweet and kind like his mother. Jesse also has a loving for his. I have to redo this. Has a loving for his family and will always cherish it when he can. Relationships. Here's like a little bit of thing here. Jessica. Jesse does get along with his sister quite well. Ever since they were little, they were inseparable siblings. Their huge bonding moment probably was when their father, Steve, had passed away from cancer. After that happened, the two siblings swore to each other to stick together and help out their mother to the best way they can. Alex. Jesse's always been close to his mother throughout all of his life. Sometimes he was considered a mama's boy. Pretty much. I mean, he has anxiety. He tends to stay sheltered, and, he loves his mom. Steve. As a young boy, Jesse has always been close to his father. When Steve died, it was somewhat of the main cause of Jesse's now depressive state he would have in his teenage years. Axel. A childhood friend of Jesse, he would hang out with Axel more than Olivia, but all four of the kids would hang out a lot when they were younger. Olivia, yet another childhood friend. His sister Jessica would mostly hang out with Olivia, but Jesse would enjoy having Olivia around. There is a little bit of bio on Alex and Steve, so we'll get to that in a moment. I don't remember about Olivia, though. I have to look at that. Lucas has one, though. When Jesse was new in town, Lucas had a group of friends that would tend to pick on him, both Jesse and Jessica. But once high school rolls around, Lucas was laying off making fun of the two, and Aiden is taking over what Lucas used to do. But over time, Jesse seemed to notice that Lucas was avoiding not to make fun of Jesse anymore. Jesse's thinking that maybe Lucas has a change of heart, and that's the story. And that's one of the developments of Lucas in this AU. He has a tragic story. We're gonna get to that in a moment. Spoiler alert, he's an orphan. Literally. And here's Aiden. That bastard. Just like her sister, when Jesse and Aiden met, they didn't like each other. In high school, when Lucas began to lay off picking on Jesse and Jessica, and it would be the one to pick on Jesse. I guess I didn't finish that for some reason. Like Jessica, Jesse knew about Gil, but didn't really interact with each other as of yet. But he knows of him being one of Aiden's friends. Maya. Same thing with Maya. Jesse hasn't interacted with her at all that much, but he knows about Aiden and Maya that are together as a couple. Yeah, there's that in there. The bully, or like the high school bully trope. I'm telling you, it's gonna be an 80s movie style thing. Shut up. That's the vibe I'm going for now. I don't care. It's good. It makes that vibes, and that's why I love the 80s so much, because it had that vibe. It's just so cool to me. Petra. When Petra is the new girl in town, Jesse heard about her from Jessica. Since then, he was curious about Petra. One day when Petra walked by Jesse, he started to develop a crush on her. Jesse tends to be shy around her due to this. Yeah, they get together. It's Jetra fans, get your. This is your day. This is your field day. A little fun facts here. January 27th is actually a fun fact because that is the birthday of Jesse's voice actor, Patton Oswalt. Seinfeld, that is a name that is technically an Easter egg. Back in the early 90s, late 80s, an old sitcom show called Seinfeld, and this is what I just mentioned earlier. So here's a little information about Alex Seinfeld. She was born in Reno, Nevada. Here's like a little bit of history. 1940, Alex Seinfeld was born. Alex grew up in Reno, Nevada, and met the love of her life when she was in college. She met Steve Seinfeld, who would eventually marry her, and her last name would be branded to Seinfeld. When they were married in 1965, they moved up to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and had a family of their own. Alex would then eventually become mother of 2 children, a son and a daughter. Both were about twins, even though they're two about a minute apart. Both kids were born in 1970, and Alex was around 30 years old when she had her children. My mom was about that age. Oh, man. She was like 35 when she had me. Appearance. Alex's appearance is simple. She has ginger hair, green eyes, and Caucasian. She's mostly seen wearing a blue flower dress at times, but she usually wears a green turtleneck. Personality. Alex is a kind and sweet mother and very caring towards her children. Of course, she loves her, and her beloved Steve is just as much. Alex is also a very supportive mother, although at times she can tend to be a bit protective, but she usually is a laid-back kind of person. Steve, here's the relationship. Alex met Steve while she was in college around 1958. Eventually, they liked each other so much that they decided to get married and start a family of their very own. Yeah, a little love quarrel. Jesse. Jesse is Alex's son. He is the one who was born around a minute before Jessica was. Alex had always loved her son dearly and would always will. Jessica. Jessica is Alex's daughter. Like Jesse, Alex would always adore the 2 kids equally. Jessica was born a minute after. Yeah. So even I put a little Chicago and Minneapolis like thing up here too, which is funny to me. Steve Seinfeld. So here's a little bit of Steve. Good old Steve. August 25th, 1940. That is an Easter egg because that's my mom's birthday, actually. Date of death, July 11th, 1981. That's my brother's birthday, except that's not the year he was born. He was born in 1987. 1987. So it's kind of it's funny. He was a lawyer. Steve was a lawyer. Steve was born in 1940 under the last name Seinfeld. He first went to college in 1958 and met the woman he eventually married, Alex. Steve at college studied to become a lawyer and eventually made it to law school. After graduating college in 1962, Steve married to Alex in 1965 and moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he had his 2 children in 1970. After raising his kids for about 10 years, Steve and his family moved to Chicago, Illinois because of his lawyer job. Unfortunately, not long after they moved, Steve was diagnosed with cancer, and when he was just about to turn 40 years old. Steve passed away, leaving his 2 kids and his wife on their own. Appearance. Steve has a brunette hair, but is darker brown than Jesse's. For his lawyer attire, he wears a blue suit and wears an outfit similar to a professor for colleges. Steve wears dress shoes to accompany's attire. Those leather shoes. Personality. From what we can see in the story, Steve is a compassionate father. Despite him being a lawyer, Steve is still a kind and generous person, or man. When Steve found out he had cancer, Steve was trying to do what he could for his family before he could eventually pass. Relationships. Alex met Steve while he was going to college in 1958. Blah, blah. Jesse's Steve's son. Steve always adored his son. Jessica is Steve's daughter. He adored his two children. Alright. Aiden does not have much of anything. I haven't gotten around to it. So where's your wallet anyway? I thought you were going to eat the... Jessica Seinfeld, January 27th, 1970. So here's a little bit of... So Jessica is bubbly, social and bubbly. Likes to go out hand in hand with hang out with friends who gets a chance to. But she can be stuck up and witty at times. When her father died, Jessica was heartbroken, but her brother was able to comfort her. To this day, her brother Jesse was still there for her, which she's grateful for. Jessica also cherishes family the same way her brother does. So, same kind of deal here. Yeah, so Jessica and Petra become real great friends. So, basically, Petra was from Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome to the club. Lucas Crockett, Ivor Herman, family friend, Linda Crockett, mother, William Crockett, father. So here is Lukey boy, Lucas's history. So here we go. Once this is done, we'll end the video here because I don't have much else to say but for this AU, but if it sounds interesting, be my guest and if you want to make fan art or whatever you guys want, totally fine. No SFW, whatever they call that. No, that bullshit. Don't want that. January 14th, 1970, yeah. So, here's the history. So, in 1917, Lucas was born in Chicago, Illinois, and his mother and father were Linda and William Crockett. Lucas had a decent childhood up until he was just around 7 years old. His father, William, one day would not return home as he was killed by a mugging incident. Ever since that time, Linda was now the parent to take care of Lucas. Unfortunately, when Lucas was just 10 years old, his mother took her own life out of the guilt of losing her husband, now leading a family friend to raise the young boy. Ivor Herman, a close family friend, was up to take care of Lucas since there wasn't anyone else that vouched to take care of him. When Lucas finally got around attending middle school, he befriended this other kid named Aiden, who, let's just say, taught him to laugh things off. That is actually a game reference. If you don't remember, in Season 2, there was a line where Lucas was like, let's just say, he taught me to laugh things off, and that's why I implemented that, because, and that, I thought was perfect for his character, so, and it says here, like, and since that time, Lucas would just pick on other kids as a coping mechanism to get over his mother's death, and it's a way for him to get stronger, and, yeah. But as time goes on, Lucas realizes picking on other kids isn't the way to get stronger or make you happy, and that's when he decided to stop and cease all trying to pick on, and this is like not the right thing to do. Appearance. Lucas's appearance is obviously similar to that of his game counterpart. He still has the blonde hair, the teal blue eyes, the leather jacket, and the jeans, but except the jacket doesn't have the ocelot on it. The only difference in his appearance is his shoes, which are Adidas blue shoes, and his purple and white striped shirt is replaced by a full violet purple shirt. And that is what that is. Personality. Lucas's personality ain't no different than he is in the original game of Minecraft Story Mode. But in this AU, when he was just a young boy, he was snarky and picked on other kids to have a laugh. But over time, blah blah blah, he became more softer and knew it was wrong. And then Lucas was a child that evolved from being snarky to being a soft and kind person. And Linda and William are his parents. Ivor is like his guardian figure. Aiden is like that person that's like, hey man, I'm gonna pick you up, but then he realizes him and Jesse become like brothers by this end of this video, end of this AU. That's what I want. I want a happy ending for Lucas because he's been through so much fucking shit. And I'm like, I need a happy ending for him. He's like, this is why probably Lucas Crockett is probably the best AU, like the best Lucas AU. Out of all my AUs, this is the best AU that, like, of Lucas that I had. Besides Silent Beacon Town. Like, this is the one that's, like, really tragic and shit. So, anyway. That is all for the wiki page. I will link this in the description below. I'll make sure to also, link my DeviantArt page and the wiki page as well, just to be cool. Actually, you know what? My DeviantArt page should be linked on my main channel page, but in case if you don't see that, or you don't want that, or you're too lazy, I'll just post it in the description because it's attached with this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Yeah. Talk to you all later. And I know this is not the best video ever, but I hope you had enjoyment of, like, me just drawing this, or, like, not drawing, at least talking about my AU that's, like, 5 years old, and I still need to fucking write it. But yeah, that's about it. I'll send them a DeviantArt page and everything, all that information, so you guys can check out the stuff. And, yeah. Bye, guys. Talk to you all later. Peace out. God bless all of you.